This is my third live for the day, and every single one has been terrible.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
Well, we're going
Like
to turn that around.
Right.
the one right before this, I got kicked out like 5 times, and then
Oh,
I did
no.
my Bible study from 7, and nobody could comment. So I'm like, hey, drop it in the chat, and they're like, we're commenting,
Right.
and I'm like, no, you're not. Y'all got me talking to myself. So I don't know what's going on.
No worries. Well, we're gonna cast that out right now because we're going to have a great session. And thank you so much tonight, you guys. Our special guest. We are joined by Mr. Stephen Foster. He is a father, pastor, and CEO of Next Step Coaching. So we're so happy to have you tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Like you said, I know you had Bible study, so thank you for hopping right onto this. Hopefully you grabbed a snack or something, because I know it's a lot when you have to do all of that. But we're so appreciative tonight. Stephen, if you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your business and your journey, of course.
Sure. So first off, I just always like people to know I'm from Baltimore. If you can't hear it in my accent, I'm from Baltimore. I was born and raised where they shot The Wire, and I mean, it really is like that. Like it is like that. But other than that, I am a PK. So basically, I'm not saying I've always been good, but I have always been in church my whole life. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it has taught me so many things in life and my journey.
Yeah.
And it actually has helped me to be the person I am, to actually take proper steps and always be ready to take the next step. That's why my key saying is like, you want to make your next step your best step. So that's where I am on my journey, just always trying to make my next step my best step. Even if my last step was bad, my next step can be the best one.
I love it. I love it. Yes, you are joined by a fellow Baltimore native over here, our executive co-director, B. So yes, we get to hear that wonderful accent very often. I love it. I love
I
it.
say, and you're
No.
in Texas now. You're in Texas.
I am. I've been here 5 years. It's nice down here. But you have a
To each his
purpose
own.
out there,
To
though,
each
so
his
it makes
own.
sense. You know what I mean? You have a purpose out there in our city, so.
That is awesome. But no, we're glad of the things that you're doing, and with you continuing, with you being a PK and continuing that journey with what you do now. Has that always been something that you were interested in? Where I know a lot of PKs, like I grew up in the church too, and like some of them, they had that period where they wanted nothing to do with it because that's how they were raised. But we always come back to our roots a lot of times. Is that your journey, or how did that go for you?
Yeah, so I definitely thought I was going to be. I either thought I was going to be a teacher or an architect. And I taught in Baltimore schools for 4 months, and then I quit because teaching kids, it ain't for me. It just wasn't for me. That wasn't my ministry, and I was supposed to put my hands on a lot of them. So I
Takes a
was
lot
like,
of
it's better off
patience.
if I serve my gifts in another way. But and then on the other side, architect, I've always loved building things and growing things and seeing raw materials. And then the funny thing about that is just how God wired me to even help people now. So seeing people as raw materials, or seeing their gifts, abilities, and talents, and then seeing that. Because one thing that he's even shown me in the journey that I don't want to say transition, but kind of the space that I'm in now, is that every person was created an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. The question is, what are you doing with your raw materials? And so each person is given a gift, abilities, and talents. And the question is, how are you maximizing them to build, grow, and develop and make the impact that only you can make? And so, I thought I was going to be an architect because I like blueprints and seeing that thing. But
Right.
now he's actually helping me see, like, each person has a blueprint on how they're wired. And so help them see how I've gifted them, how I wired them, their temperaments. And then when we take all those things and put them together, they solve a problem because they were born on purpose for a purpose.
I love that. Born on purpose for a purpose. Yes.
Right.
And
Right.
helping, that's a beautiful thing that you're saying. You're molding them in the way that they should go, you know what I'm saying? And with the leadership of, you being, pastor and being a mentor naturally, with that role and things like that. So that is a wonderful journey, and making sure that people of the church, because I feel like a lot of times growing up, we aren't taught a lot of things about money, or building our own businesses for whatever reason. I don't think it's anything on pastors, but I feel like in the generation that we are in now, that is a heavier thing, and realizing, our place in that. Did you feel a lot of kind of maybe setbacks with getting people of the church to understand, entrepreneurship, understanding that we should be building and things like that? Or is that, like you said, is that something that's been natural?
No, so it's weird, and I appreciate where we are coming to now, but this is something that's been in my heart for like over 10 years. And so now it's funny, like people ask me like, hey, are you a coach? Are you this? Are you that? And it's kind of, I love how you said it, because I feel like that's the problem that he's called me to solve, is that so many times in church, yes, and like, hey, you're not going to make a viral clip of Todd Tribbett out of me. But what I am saying is, though, that's a whole nother story. But what I am saying is that what has happened is that the church has been great at certain things, but then when it comes to business and entrepreneurship and finances, what the church end up doing is sending these people out to the world to put on armor that doesn't fit them. And the way that he began to show it to me is like, like when David went to go fight Goliath, the first thing that Saul tried to do was he made him put on his armor. And David was like, man, like I've done this before. Like I've been in this place before. This doesn't fit me. I need to take this off and put on what fits me. And that's the same concept that we have to take even in businesses and entrepreneurship or whatever journey you're on. Yes, like certain strategies work, but if we're going to build a kingdom principles and build a kingdom business, we have to make sure that the things that we are putting on fit the culture of how God designed and wired us. And there are certain things, even in my business, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it. People say, oh, you need to post 20 times a day. And I was like, that's unhealthy. Oh, you need to do this, that, and the third. I'm like, no, that doesn't fit me. I'm going to run at a pace that I have the grace to run and that only I can run. And so I say that to say is that kind of back to your point. It's like the way that he's kind of shown me is that I am a pastor to entrepreneur, business owners, and people with kingdom businesses. And you don't have to send them to Grant Cozone or this person or that person to learn things that they are getting from the Bible. They're getting these principles. They're getting these concepts. They're getting the things that now people are paying millions of dollars for. They're getting them from Proverbs and Nehemiah, how to build a wall. Like they're getting the concepts. But we as Christians aren't equipped to do it. And so then we send people out to the world and then tell them to put on worldly ideas. But Romans says it this way: don't be so well adjusted to the world or to the culture that you fit in. And so now I want to help those entrepreneurs, those business owners, those people with kingdom businesses in a place where it says, listen, there's no book that you can read that the principle isn't already in the book.
Yes. Say that. Okay.
Right.
No,
Okay,
because
so
go ahead.
So finally looking back on your journey, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are seeking their own sources of inspiration and guidance?
Yeah, so the first thing that I would say to them, and this was the Bible study that I just did, like, because the question that you ask is a part of a frustration that they voice. Will I ever get there? Right. And so what I was even teaching in that Bible study is that, like, what I tell them is that, like, listen, you may have to take the long way there, but you're taking the long way there because you aren't in the driver's seat. And you have to sometimes take the long way there in your entrepreneurial journey, because you have to understand there will always be a shortcut. But you also may take the long way in your entrepreneurial journey because the delay is really for your development. And so I kind of help them in that. I'm saying, like, hey, listen, I get it. You want to be that six figure. You want to make that seven figures. You want to start the business. You want to, start that clothing line. You want to do all of these things. But understand, in your way there, God may have to take you on a detour so he can develop you. And I joke all the time. I was like, God, he couldn't give me $1 million 10 years ago, because I would give a lot of people the
I
middle
would have
finger.
had one.
Like I would have given a lot of people the middle. Like I just like I wasn't that saved 10 years ago, but because God took me the long way, I've been through so much, and we can ask that next question, like, what's my journey? Because it's a story within itself. Like I've went in 2018. So I don't know if your next question, but can I tell
Oh,
the story real quick?
please,
Yeah,
yeah.
go
Sure.
ahead, go ahead, go
So
ahead.
so in 20 like in
Yeah.
You did. Your
oh I'm
sound.
sorry. So in 2018, I felt like I was at the best place in my life. I had a thriving church. I was married. I was traveling all around the world, and I had just signed a book deal. And then the book deal was so amazing. This is how good the book deal was. The book deal told me I signed it with a bank, and the bank told me wherever you go speak, just make sure there's at least 100 to 200 people there. We will buy your book. All you have to do is put our name in the back of the book, and we'll buy your book. So I'm selling my book for $25, and make sure that every place you speak, it's 100 to 200 people there. You put our name in the back of the book, we'll buy the book from you.
Wow.
And you have to do at least 20 stops. So you do the math.
Yeah. Wow.
So
100 times shorter.
It's like,
so this is 2018. So this is 2018, and so at 2018, I'm like man, it's amazing. I'm traveling, I'm speaking, I'm doing all of these things, and then all of a sudden, well, right before that, God told me to do a message, and the message was called "You're Right on Schedule." And so I'm preaching this message so excited, like you're right on schedule. You're right on schedule. I'm so excited. And then 3 months later, the church, that's a whole story. It's in the book. Get the book. I can't tell you that part, but it's in the book. It's coming out in May. So it's a
Good
little quick
book.
plug. It's a quick commercial. So real quick, hey, listen, coming out in May, the second Tuesday in May, it's a book called You're Right on Schedule. Because I want you to understand and know this, that no matter where you are in life, whatever your setback was, whatever your failure was, you're still right on schedule. Why are you right on schedule? Because nothing can change your position. Because God was always playing the long game. And number three, your mess has a message. So grab the book,
Yes.
the first Tuesday in May. All right, back to our regular schedule program. So I preached that message in 2018. So when I preached that message in 2018, like I thought everything was like, I'm like, it's golden. 3 months later, the church that I thought was thriving shut down. Couple months after that, I'm traveling. I get a message. I get a well, I'm on the gram, so this is recorded. But I get a text message that says, "Hey, I didn't sign up for this. I'm out." That's from my wife. What? Then right after that, the book was like, "Hey, like now we're kind of reconsidering some things because now we would get ready to go into that COVID. So now it was started getting weird, and they were like, we're going to put a hold on it. So church,
Yeah, he can't go on tour and all
marriage,
that. Yeah. Oof.
book, speaking, all of that in a matter of 8 months was taken away from me, all gone. And I went in such a dark place for about 2 years. I was completely silent. And even people on, like, everything that people see on Instagram about me right now is in the last 2 months. Because I literally was off of social media from 2019 to 3 months ago. From
Wow.
2019,
Wow.
check my receipt. Check my receipt. If you go to my post, you see something from the beginning of December, but you won't see another post
Right.
before that until 2020 because I was in such a dark place. And going through that dark place, God began to tell me, he told me, he says, Stephen, you are right on schedule. And I said, yeah, come on, God, you plant like, it was cool when the church was thriving,
Yeah.
when I
You
was
believed it
married,
then. Yeah.
when the book, like I was ready to preach it, but now I'm in a dark place, God, and you're telling me that I'm right on schedule. You're joking. And he says, no, come here, sit down, write this down. Nothing can change your position. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that, God? And he says, listen, when you go to the MVA, the first thing they do is they give you a number. And the number holds your position. And so no matter what happens in between, your position doesn't change and you will be seen. This is the same thing with your purpose and your destiny. You may have failures, you may have setbacks, but nothing changes your position. The community, the church, all the lives that I've called you to change, Stephen, nothing is going to change that. You are right on schedule. I said, all right, God, I hear you. He says, no, 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 you don't hear me. I was always playing the long game. And I don't know. I was like, God, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, listen, I knew what it would take you to be the best father, the best leader, the best business owner, and the best husband. I knew what it was going to take. And where you were wasn't where I needed you to be, but I knew what it was going to take. I was always playing the long game. And I'm like, all right, God, I hear you. He says, no, no, you don't hear me yet. But know this, your mess has a message. And then when that clicked, I began to take all the things that happened to me and make a message out of it. And then at the beginning of 2022, God allowed me to see two, not just one, but two six-figure business in two separate areas prosper in 2022. And so from there, I began to take the mess that I had and make a message out of it. And God allowed me to maximize it. And this is the part church people don't like, and monetize it. And this is where God is beginning to show me growth and give me increase.
Hello.
Yes. Hey, I think you're speaking to me because no, it's just it's amazing because like you were stating earlier, you have to get the tools, right? And sometimes you're taken on different routes because those routes sharpen those tools that you were given in the beginning, which you never, you're always asking God, well, why, God? Because I was doing so good. Now I can't be who I said I was to everybody. I can't give your message. And he's like, no, that's not sharp enough. You're right. You couldn't give my message. So it's beautiful that you, kept your focus and, you were steadfast. And that's what makes you a mentor and, give you the possibility to be a coach because, until you understand what it takes to get through that, you really can't pass that along. So yes, check out the book. Please plug it again. We're going to put it back in there because that was a message. Seriously. I love that.
Right. And I like how you stated, turn that mess into a message.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all got that.
So even on that, like here's the funny side of it. Like one thing he told me was, you ever watch a movie like you watch the Titanic? And so when you watch the Titanic, they have to do something in Titanic to make it better.
Right.
And I don't know if it's a word, but it's the word I make up. It's called Hollywoodize, right? And they do that so that they can bring more people in, so it's more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, your story isn't ready until you don't have to add any flares to it. It's messy enough to stand on its own.
Yeah.
And so my story, it had to be messy enough so that when I presented it, I didn't have to add a detail because we overcome by the power of our testimony. And so when I present my life and my testimony and what God did do, I don't have to add anything to it. It stands on its own and it can stand and say, I'm right on schedule because the mess now has a message.
Listen, you were giving your second Bible study tonight
Right.
I was just speaking to my best friend like, oh, I just needed my Wednesday Bible studies back. Like I feel like church is not the same since I became an adult.
Right.
But I'm so glad that we have, mentors like yourself and, you're also using the I'll say new age. I've been using this word lately, but the newer platforms to bring, I would say our generation back into church who was raised in it, and also this newer generation that has been raised on these platforms. So, with you having experience on both realms now, what is that like for you? And is it easier to, bring young Christian entrepreneurs in, young, just members of churches in? How is that process?
Yeah. So it's funny. It's funny that you say that. Like, I think it's different. Like I wouldn't say it's easier. I wouldn't say it's better. Because for me, and I hate to say it this way, but I seen this 6 or 7 years ago. Like because I think ultimately, and I'll tag it back. Like he got this part right. We have to build communities, and I think the problem that a lot of our other brothers have been doing great jobs at building structure, but not a great job at building community. And so the great part of now, it allows us to now be at any place at any
Right.
time and have the ability to interact with people. And so that's the great part about, my community and my coaching program, is that I have the ability to be anywhere and still do life with these people and completely connect with them.
Yeah.
Because my goal is to build a community in Texas, to build a community here. And it's not so much saying I want to build a physical church, but I want to build a like-minded group of people that when times get rough, we can count on each other, because that's ultimately what Acts was always talking about, having a group of people that are like-minded joining together.
Yes. See? So, and there are communities that are being created. With that, I'm a big, I don't know if you watch APOC or Eric Thomas, who, is a similar coach that I followed, and things like that. Is there anyone that inspires you on that level, or that, helped you get to this point, because I know you were off social media and things for a while. How did you get back into that groove?
Yeah, so I have two coaches, and so one coach, and I have a pastor, and I have a coach. So one coach, and I'll plug him because he's amazing. So if you're trying to write a book, he's amazing, and his name is Kevin Knox. And like, side note, this is a shameless plug. So he actually, the people that all that circle that you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know, but he actually ghost wrote for them. But don't say that. Don't repeat that again. Okay, you can't repeat that again. He
It was
actually
just for
ghost
me.
wrote. He actually ghost wrote for a lot of those people,
Wow.
and helped them write their books.
Wow.
Okay.
So yeah, you were drinking right out of the tap. Okay, you were right on the
Right.
So no, because and he was like, and he's real quiet, so people don't know about him. He's like, remember how Usher gets the rap, but who actually wrote the song?
Right.
Neo.
Yeah. Right.
And so he's like behind the scenes.
Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah, let me just throw that out there, like, because I be wanting him to get his flowers, because he's really that dude. He's really that dude, but people just don't know about him.
Right.
But his name is Kevin Knox. So that's my coach. And then my other pastor is, I go to, I'm connected here with a guy named Wade. He's been really helpful in this transition, because even in my transition, it was hard. It was hard in the transition, doing all that I was doing, and it, to be real, like, you get blacklisted real fast. And so, some of the circles, like, I was in those circles, and now I can't even get a text message from those people. So, having someone that, as a pastor, to kind of help and walk with me through that, it definitely really helped that journey.
Yeah, and I feel like, as an entrepreneur person, you're on mute, sis, if you're speaking.
I say, I'm sorry. I said, yeah, that's what what I was going to ask you. Like, how do you manage keeping your cool and juggling fatherhood, pastoring, and leading two companies? Like, is there any secrets that keep you motivated, that that keeps you going?
You see that?
Mm.
He said the punching bag.
So real talk, like, so I'm gonna give y'all Baltimore real quick. Like, I tell people real fast, like, try Jesus. Don't try me.
Try me.
But like, no, I think for me, honestly, like, it really has been boxing. That's my thing. Like, it's the one thing I get to punch somebody in the face and not get in trouble for. I know probably pastors probably shouldn't be saying it, but it's the one thing I get to punch somebody in the face, I get in the ring and I punch somebody in the face, and I don't get in trouble for it. Like, I think that's pretty cool.
Okay. So you
and you need to have that. But knowing yourself and knowing the releases that you need, especially, following, God in itself, and especially in a world like this, I always say it seems like it created more stress, but also trying to build your own and being an entrepreneur,
right.
That's something I always focus on too. How do you decompress? Yes.
Yeah, no, because it's so funny. Like, and I joke. Like, a lot of people see me joke and they take the joke, and I be like, nah, this ain't that. Like he working on me, but, like, don't try me, because, like, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with the hands. I'm pretty good.
He's like, I spent a lot of time in here
Yeah,
to see it.
yeah, yeah. Like I got receipts. I got receipts. I got receipts. So
I
like
love it.
let's keep it biblical, or I,
He
like
said he
I'm had to
coming with
take
the
it to
full
a
armor on y'all.
yeah, like I will have to lay hands because now at this point I think you're sick. At this point I think you're sick. If you want to be, we can be biblical. Like now I
Right,
think you're
right.
sick, and I need to lay hands on you, and I think he can help.
Hmm. Different type of fellowship,
Yeah,
right? Don't come around
yeah.
here if you don't want
But
it.
here's the flip side, and I think this side of me actually helps me relate to a lot of different people because even in
Yeah.
being in Baltimore, like there's not a place I can't go now. The gifting that he's given me, I can talk to anybody.
Hmm.
So like if you put me in another space, like I could be completely different. But then you put me in another space, I can be completely different. Like
Yeah.
I can go with every corner boy and we can rap and he can talk and I'm like, dang, bro, like I need to see it. And when I share my story, they like, oh man, that's real. And I can share it to them exactly where they were. But then you take me and says like, hey man, I need you to give me 3 points and a text. And I'm like, okay, let me do it, and I can do the exact same thing. And I think that's the great balance that he's given me, that I appreciate. But I'm always going to keep it real.
Yeah. Like I always say, like, yes, I'm very
Right.
professional, but I'm also good in everything. Thank you.
Face card never decline.
But it's very important to be, that kind of chameleon without losing focus and your faith on, your journey with God and things like that. So it is a beautiful thing. Like I said, I think that's what the separation was. Even from my generation, millennials with the church, they kind of lost the connection of how to, bridge that generational gap. And I feel like that's really important that you have that, like I said, not just for, our peers, but the people that are coming up under us as well. So that's a beautiful thing. And do you do like mentoring for like, youth and things like that and try to teach them, entrepreneurial skills and things like that?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the process. In the next, I want to say I got to check the dates, but like I'm actually already going to tour to a bunch of different colleges, because
Awesome.
colleges right now, people are like they don't really want to go to college, and so now
Yeah.
I have a great opportunity to go to. So right now we have six. The goal is to have 15, but I want to go to 15 different colleges and literally teach about entrepreneurship, and then teach them how they can take their next step and make their next step their best step. So, I'm basically taking my coaching program on tour to the colleges. So that's the goal. So the goal
Oh,
is
that's
15. Right
awesome.
now we're at six.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Okay.
that is amazing.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, that is awesome.
That's
Yeah, getting the
awesome.
six. That's amazing. No, that's amazing. And definitely necessary. Like you said, I do see that there is a decline in, high school students wanting to go to college. They see so many different avenues of making money now. And maybe that is from social media.
Most
Um, but
definitely.
you know what I mean? But making sure that they're caught at the right time and, guided because it all sounds good. But as we know, it is so much work. And when you are faced with those, obstacles like you were within, a span of a few months where your life will fall apart sometimes. What are the skills needed and the tools needed in those moments to keep you going as an entrepreneur? So, next step coaching, you guys, definitely. He's leading the way and going to be at colleges. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, and I'm definitely excited because even a part in one of the steps on the program, like, and I teach this a lot of times, is that we have to learn how to mind our business. You got to mind your own business.
Yeah.
And so because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but we want to be an entrepreneur because we've seen someone else do it.
Mm.
And until you can mind your own business, you're never going to be great at who you are because you're trying to be someone else.
Mm.
And I did it for a lot of times. Like I tried to preach like TD Jakes, and I put on the suits, but it was
I
just
gotta
too
see
hot
that.
and too sweaty. It was
I
too
need
it
to
was
see
too
that.
it was too hot. Like I need to go back and find it. Like
I need to
I
see
actually
that.
had I had the whole robe and everything. I'm like, man, it's too hot in here for
Hmm.
this. And it was because I was trying to mind someone else's business. And it wasn't
Hmm.
until like I found my sweet spot where I'm comfortable, that I can just flow now, and I can go into, like I said, I can go into any space now, and it's not because my man Terrell, shout out to Peace Kings. Y'all should connect. Peace King podcast. I was on there a couple weeks ago. But the one thing that I learned about all that is that, like, when you can mind your own business, you can really understand who you are, how unique you are, and when you can understand how unique you are, like, there's no competition. Like, I literally have no competition. There's no one better than me in the lane that I'm in. And when I learned that, it freed me so much. So I don't have, so okay, he's killing it. But you know what? He can never kill at what I do because he can't solve the problem that only I can solve.
Exactly. And will never come with a testimony that you come with. So like you said, you went through all of your steps and all of your mess for your message. So no, it's very important to keep and to hold, because it gets easy to mimic what you see is trending or popular, or, that's the hardest thing, I think, especially coming into the whole social media realm and just seeing, like you said, you just mimic at first or whatever, trying to get the algorithm, trying to get these things correct, but you are the business, like you said. So until you figure out your space in your lane, yeah, it's going to be a longer road, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, and here's a do we still have tweetable moments? I don't know. Here's a good post for you tomorrow, because here's the thing: we have to stop looking at someone's reel and miss their real life. And so we're so caught up in the real that we miss the real.
Yeah. Don't get on the
and
highlights.
everything you see is nothing more than a minute of their life.
Right.
And what's the real? What's the real? Come on, like, what's the real?
Right.
What's the real? And if you're honest, it took you 20 minutes to get the minute.
Get that right.
God darn it, I said that wrong. Let me redo that. God darn it, let me do that. And now we've got so good at editing that we just say, you know what, I don't even care. I'm gonna send it off to someone else to fix.
Yeah.
That's a message. I should write that down. And so, but that's the great part about our lives, is that the story of our life, we aren't the author or the finisher. And so we can have a messy life, because when we send it to him, he'll fix it. Oh, that'll preach. That'll preach right there.
Listen, like I said, we're trying to, I was praying this morning. I asked for a couple things. I didn't know it was going to come like this, but I'm preaching to him. No, that is amazing. That touched me. Yeah, that was a message for me, I think. Listen, I didn't know what this was. Listen, thank you. I messed up my next question now.
Well, my post is, I can't wait to tell everybody mind their business.
Yeah, mind your business. Yeah, no, real talk. I really was going to get some
mind your business.
I was going to get some shirts made called Mind Your Business. Mind Your Business. Yeah, I was going to do it. But y'all can have it. You can have it. Mind your business. Because everywhere I used to go, people like, what you doing? Like, I'm minding my business. Like, and I literally meant it. I'm minding my business. I don't care what you're doing. Like, I'm minding my business.
Hello.
Keep your eyes on your own paper if you want to pass. Because no, that was seriously a message. But with that, because you just made me lose my whole space here. And with you going on tour, so you have a few things happening. You have your book still coming out. So you're going to be going to these colleges, things like that. When do you have time, for these clients? Like, we talked about how you navigate it, but you're also, that's what I'm having a hard time going through that little stage of burnout. I'm a little more tired around 9 p.m. where usually, I'm staying up till midnight to get some things done. How do you get past that? And how do you help out entrepreneurs get past that?
Yeah, and so here is something that I changed, and I literally have changed this in the last month and a half, maybe last month. Like, I'm very selective on who I work with now. Because what I've learned is that I'm not in a race to make $1 million. I'm not in a race. Okay. And I think that sometimes we have to be careful when we're trying to do this and that and the third, because we got to ask ourselves, like, are you doing this because you're in a rush or a race to get somewhere, and you feel like, going back to the book, that you aren't on schedule or you aren't behind? And so for me, I literally have pulled back and slowed down in a lot of things. And I'm saying I'm only going to be intentional about certain things, and I'm only going to do certain things, and these other things I just don't care about. And so at right now, so the program is 90 days. And so I know that, hey, my max number is 15 in 90 days. I can only work with 15 people in 90 days.
Okay.
And after that, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to chase a dollar, because here's another tweetable thing for you. Like, I'm more focused on impact than influence. And so if I can make a big impact, then that gives me the influence to change. But I'm not shooting for influence without impact, because so many people on social media have tons of influence with no impact.
They're not making an impact. Yes.
And so I want to make an impact, and the influence will come.
So so you're minimizing, the quantity and really making it intentional and about the quality. And you have to be selective on who you're working with.
Right. And I think SisterSoulSessions, we need to get a Twitter. All these tweetable posts we do.
It's because I'm old. It's because I'm old. It's because I'm old, right?
It's X now.
That's what it is.
X, yeah.
Yeah, it's because I'm old. Like, and I honestly don't even have Twitter. I don't even have it. Like, but I'm just saying, like, it's because I'm old, and so it's just in my vocabulary.
Right.
I mean, I can't Snapchat and I can't TikTok. So like, that's too much. It's too much work. It's too much work. Too much for my brain.
I literally was looking to hire a 13-year-old to manage our TikTok, because I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't get on there. I won't be doing any of this anyway, so.
For what, but why?
Yes. But with that though, do you find it a little more difficult to reach your audience, or like you said, is this right on schedule? If you have to expand to those platforms and things like that, that's something that you will know in those times, or
so here's the thing. Like, I believe that it's all building blocks, right? And I think the problem for me, and even what I try to help my clients with, is that I try to say, like, okay, what is the simplest thing you can do today? And then when we get better at the simple thing, then we can do a simpler thing, and another thing, and another thing. But the problem is that social media has so many shiny thing syndromes that you'll try to start your business, and you're trying to run ads, and you're trying to run a VSL, and you're trying to start a YouTube channel, and and then it's like, well, what are you actually doing?
Yeah.
And so for me, and so for me, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this well, and then after I do this well, I'm gonna do this well, and trust me, it's not. I see shiny thing every day. Like, I'm like, oh man, I need to do this automation, and then I feel like God reminds me, it's like, come on, Steven, what do we
and
just
who's gonna put
about?
it together, and who's gonna do so.
Like,
yes, I go through
I wasted probably, and I share this even with my clients, and I say, listen, you guys, I wasted $25,000 between December and to date, chasing shiny things and not getting the results, and only to come back to the simple thing God told me to do. Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added unto you. Yeah, but what about these ads? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added. Well, God, I need to get my website up, because people are gonna be looking for me, and they're gonna be trying to Google me. Seek ye first.
And
like all these other. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be. But God, like, so when people start coming in, I need a funnel, because these people told me I need a funnel.
Yeah.
Seek ye first.
I saw this page. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when and then when he showed me that, he began to unlock, and I actually teach this in my program, because how he showed it to me is, I call it the entrepreneurial triangle. And so the way that I do it is, like, when you look at it as a triangle, right? Oh man, my board's downstairs. So my teaching board is downstairs. I thought it was right there. But it's an entrepreneurial triangle. And the way he showed it to me is like, if Let's do it real quick. Let's do it real quick. Let's do it live. Do it. Y'all got a piece of
I
paper?
love
Go
it.
ahead,
I love it. I do.
get a
I
piece of
do.
paper from me. Get a piece of paper.
Okay. I have a piece
And
of
if
paper.
and if you watching it, get a piece of paper out. This ain't watch me time. It's not watch me time. It's not watch me time. Get a piece of paper out. And so draw a triangle. Draw a
Okay.
triangle. So go ahead and draw a triangle.
All right. I have somewhat of a triangle.
All right. And on the left side of your triangle, put whatever your goal is. Put a goal. Put a goal. Put a dream. So I don't know. No, you can't see. You can't even see mine. So for me, on the left side of my goal, right, I would put next step coaching. I would put B3 community, right? Those are my goals. Those are dreams that God has put down on the inside of me. And so I'm like, God, this is what I desire. And he says, okay. But then if you go to the right of your triangle. So you're still at the
Okay.
bottom. And then put what would that desired outcome. So for you guys' business, if it did well, or for a dream that you had, what would it look like if you got it? And so for me, if next step blew up, if the B3 community blew up, like I would have more impact, I would have more freedom, I would have more money, I would have more clients. Like this is what you would put. Those are the things that you desire if the business goes well, right? Like whatever it could be, whatever.
Okay.
But this is the kingdom entrepreneurial triangle, right? So at the very top of it, at the top point, put God. All right. So you should have three things. On the left, you should have whatever your dream is. On the right, you should have whatever that desired outcome is. And at the very top, you should have God.
Okay.
Here's the problem. I teach next steps, right? So to go from right to left, there are a bunch of steps. Like it might be create that website. It might get more clients. It might be get more people on your podcast. Like this is how you get from left to right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can make steps all the way going there. The problem is that every day we wake up and we go from here to here, here to here, here to here. And we never actually incorporate the most important ingredients in our businesses, our lives, and our families, and our marriages, in our walk. We don't do any of that. All we do is wake up every single day and go from left to right, from left to right. But Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom. So what if we was to shift it, right? So instead of going from this way to this way, we went from this way to go up. So what if every single morning you woke up and says, God, how can I seek you today? Because he says, if you seek me, actually each one of these dots have a point on it. And they all ultimately meet up at the top. But the problem is, as long as you try to go from left to right, it's so hard now to go from left to right and then go up. Because then we like, oh, God, when I get my money right, oh, when I get this right, now I'm going to start doing this. Now I'm going to start doing that. Now I'm going to start going there. Now I'm going to be about this. And he's like, come on. Like,
Come do these steps to get to it.
like, if you were just to seek me, do you not know that I'll give you that? It's waiting for you up here. But you want to go there. Now I'm waiting for you. And ultimately, when you get there, like this is why then you get here, right? You get over there. And then what ends up happening, then you try to go this way and then go up after you get the stuff. But if you go that way after you get up the stuff, if you're honest, now you're tired, you're frustrated, you're angry, you're burnt out. The great thing is that he loves us and he's like, cool, I'm still waiting for you, but I have a better way for you. if you started off by seeking me, and this is what I say, if you seek him first, seeking him looks like, okay, how are you going to embrace your uniqueness? Seeking him looks like, how are you going to run at a healthy pace? And if you do that, he says, now you're getting to me in your uniqueness and in your pace, and you're getting all of that stuff without all of the burnout, without all the frustration, without all the drama, and I'm giving it to you right on schedule.
Amen.
But I'm doing it in a kingdom entrepreneurial way.
Yes, I love that. Thank you.
Okay.
Kingdom Entrepreneur Triangle. I needed that.
I'm about to put this
Not be
triangle on my
strict as
refrigerator, and they better not touch it.
Yes, no, that was a word. And before we let you go, I want to plug your dates and your book, of course, and site again. Stephen, thank you so very much for joining us tonight. If you would go ahead and let us know how we can reach you, how we can order the book, of course, and gain more of this this Kingdom Entrepreneurial Triangle, because this was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So first, listen, you can follow me at Stephen. That's Stephen, Steven, Foster, FOSTERYNS, on Instagram. But also, when you follow me on Instagram, listen, I would love to connect. If you have any kind of entrepreneurial journey or ideas, I would love to just take 30 minutes, hear what you got going on, a free consultation just to hear about what you got going on. So if you're here and you want to do that, text me the word next. DM me the word next, and we'll set up a call with you and run through your business. And I promise you, at the end of the call, you will have everything you need to run your business and do what you need to do with 5 simple steps. So DM me the word next, and we'll set up a call, get you there. But the book is coming out on May the 3rd. On May the 3rd, grab the book. It's called You're Right on Schedule. You're right on schedule. And so I'm super, super excited about that. And just super, super thankful for this time with you guys. It's definitely been a pleasure. Definitely been a
No,
pleasure.
thank you.
Been
The
a
pleasure
pleasure
is
to
all
have you.
ours. Yes. And thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. This is Sister Soul Sessions, Season 2, Episode 12. Again, I'm your host, Brittany, joined by my sister and co-host, Amanda. It was such a pleasure tonight. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Stephen. You have a wonderful night.
All right.
Thank you.
Take
It's
care.
nice
Thanks,
to
you
meet
guys.
you. You have a good
Thank
night.
you.
All right.